Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Fazbor, or Ollie if you prefer, and I'm going to be discussing something that might help out a lot of you, and that's the topic of gender dysphoria. I'm going to give basic advice, how I've dealt with it, and things that I've done to help cope with not that feeling, because it's a very distressing feeling and it's very hard to feel that about yourself. And a lot of this is general advice. I have separated the advice into 3 sections: self-care, general, and passing in quotations, which is kind of just like things you can do to make yourself feel more feminine or masculine, or however, depending on what side of the binary you're on. So a lot of this will probably be more relatable to trans people on the gender binary of male and female. But maybe if you're non-binary or transmasculine or somewhere on the gender spectrum, you'll find something that will help you here, hopefully. Because I aim to help as many people as I can through my experiences, through my friends' experiences, and just through general research that I have done. So yeah. Also, if you enjoy this video and want to support the channel, you can subscribe to me down below. You can leave a comment, tell me if you guys have got any tips that I don't mention in this video. Why not comment them down below for other people to read? Because we're a community, we're helping everybody. If you have advice, why not share it? Because you never know who it's gonna help. Even if you feel stupid saying it, you never know who needs to hear it, And also, since my last video, I did dye my hair darker and I did dye my eyebrows. I don't know if you can tell, but yes. So this may not be what you want to hear, but hygiene is very important. It's important to be clean and to feel clean and to help when showering or washing yourself. Stuff that I used to do was use gender-affirming products if you can. So I have a lot of siblings, mostly brothers, so I would borrow their shower gel or their body wash from time to time. And when I was growing up and figuring myself out, I'd use my dad's and my brother's stuff, and it actually made me feel a lot better. It made me feel more confident and more like myself. And I think it's so important to feel like yourself when you're struggling with something like this. Obviously, don't steal your family's products or stuff if it's going to put you in danger or if it's going to get you in trouble. For me, I used to just tell my parents, oh, I use this because it just smells nice, it's just better. And I used Lynx a lot. Lynx is very good for smell. It smells epic. I feel like if nobody's going to notice or nobody's going to really care what you use, why does it matter what kind of gendered product you use, you know what I mean? Using gendered hygiene products and stuff like that really helps. It makes a big difference, especially when showering, because you're very uncomfortable, you're seeing your whole body and stuff, and it's but having something that is more masculine or feminine, depending on whichever side of the coin you're on, it's very helpful. It makes me feel better, and I'm sure it will probably make you feel better too if you haven't done it already. I don't know, you probably have. Distractions. So this is great for mental health in general. If you suffer with mental health, distractions are always good, especially if you're closeted, because there's not much you can do externally. So internally looking after yourself and distracting yourself from this. My favorite distractions are journaling, crochet, and talking with my friends. But it depends on who you are, what you do, what your hobbies are, and stuff like that. If you have any hobbies that are more typically gendered or stereotyped to be done by a specific gender, that's cool. Maybe that will help you feel closer to yourself. Maybe stuff like gaming or reading or even cleaning around could take your mind off specific things that are bothering you, or it will help you get temporary help until you can eventually find a permanent solution, because you shouldn't distract yourself all the time, you know what I mean? It's healthy to deal with it, but also it's not always the right decision, So I think it's important to be able to temporarily relieve yourself from this distressing feeling, because gender dysphoria is horrible. It is actually, it has ruined my mental state a lot of times. And so all this advice that I have and all this stuff that I've used is from personal experience and from my friend's experience. But yeah, it does help. Number 3. This might sound really stupid, but drinking and eating also play a big role in making people feel better. So if you haven't already today, make sure you get like a snack, a drink, something to like consume, because you know you're gonna feel worse if your body isn't looked after. You're not gonna feel great, and you're not gonna feel like yourself if you're not drinking enough or you're not having enough food. And I'm so guilty of this, that I would stay in bed all day and I wouldn't eat enough and I wouldn't drink enough, and I just felt terrible. And this is just general advice, like this is just self-care 101, but it is very big, and it did make a massive difference when I started eating better and drinking more water and stuff, and it did make a massive difference in how I felt. And it doesn't cure the gender dysphoria, and it doesn't, like, you know, it doesn't get rid of it, but it helps you feel better, and it helps you logicalize and rationalize your feelings, and, you know, help you process them a lot. Because, you know, surprisingly, you process better when you have nutrients, guys. It's crazy. The thing I find most helpful is if I have a specific problem, so like with my chest binding or like with like facial hair and stuff, if I have a specific thing that I'm like really focusing on and really like consumed by, I will sometimes imagine, this is really sad, imagining that a friend has the same issue. So imagining that a friend has come to you with this issue and explained to you like, hey, I'm struggling with this, like I don't know what to do. And just think like, what would you suggest to them to feel better? For me, I used to find it hard to like care for myself and accept myself. And as soon as I redirected the issue to this imaginary person, to someone else, I found it easier to give myself what I needed to feel better and to feel like I could continue with the day, you know? So it's important to just, you know, be able to give yourself the loving care that you need, because you do deserve it, and it's very important to look after yourself in terms of just generally, and also when it comes to dealing with gender dysphoria, because it is very taxing on the body, it is very taxing on your brain. So just look after yourself. So these next few tips are more general tips. So 1, oversized hoodies. They are perfect for everybody basically. So they're comfortable, they can help hide curves on like bind rest days when you're, you know, if you bind, obviously. And they can help hide your curves, and they're just very useful. And both men and women wear oversized hoodies. So non-gendered. It's perfect. They are quite frankly the most underrated phenomenon, and I really think a good oversized hoodie goes a long way in feeling good and feeling not like better, but, you know, alleviating the stress and the hatred of yourself and the self-hatred, and it just helps alleviate yourself, and it makes you feel comfortable. Having clothes that you feel comfortable in is so important. So oversized hoodies are great for that. I'm actually wearing one right now, not for any specific reason, just because I like had a shower and it was the first thing I saw, but they are so good. They are actually so good. This one is just like an important tip to remember, and it's just let yourself be free and try to express yourself freely if you can. I mean, it's a lot harder to do that if you're closeted, for example, but you can still find smaller ways to do that. And what I mean by that is, so if you're transfeminine, you could use clear nail polish, skincare, so moisturizer and stuff. And skincare is for everyone, right? So you can just say like, oh, you want to look after yourself, you want to look good or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just like giving yourself the ability to express yourself. And also remember these things, right? This is very important to remember. Some biological women have facial hair, and some have prominent Adam's apples, and some have shorter hair, and it's the same for biological men. Some have long hair, some have no leg hair, or prefer to shave it, some have bigger chests. At the end of the day, your identity is yours, and how you feel about yourself, and making yourself feel good and feel right as yourself is the most important thing you can do. I think it's important that you want that for yourself as well, because it does help. It helps to be free to express yourself. And I know it's harder for people who are closeted, like I said, but just doing the small things add up, right? It's like small issues add up, but it's the same for positive things. So small, like self-care things that you do, small stuff like skincare or shaving, stuff like that, it does really add up and make you feel better in the long run. and it will help you until you can, permanently resolve this gender dysphoria that you have. And finally, for the general section, is I did touch upon it in the last one, but community, a lifesaver. This is kind of a given, but obviously surrounding yourself with supportive people, even if it's just like online, in online spaces and stuff like that, it's really, really important. And when I was younger and I first came to terms with being trans, I actually heavily relied on online spaces because obviously I didn't want to come out yet because I didn't know how my parents were going to react. I didn't know how my family and friends, I didn't know how anybody was going to react, and it was very scary. And being online and getting advice and having people to talk to was like a big lifesaver. Big disclaimer, because you need to stay safe online, because the community can be helpful. They have advice, and there's so much resources now, more than there ever has been in the past, because it adds up and up and up. But just like the real world, there are bad people online, and there are bad people in good places. And so just be careful with the information that you put online and what you put out there and what you do, basically. Moving on to the third segment of the video, passing in quotations. So this is stuff that you can do to help you pass or to help you feel more masculine or feminine, depending on which one, I'm going to start with transmasculine tips, and then I will do transfeminine tips right after, but I will put timestamps for everything down below, so don't worry about that. Obviously, binders or sports bras if you can't get a chest binder. This is the best way to help the majority of trans masculine people. A lot of the main dysphoria is with the chest or with voice, but again, this is just like I'm going off experience and what I've like talking to other people and stuff. But yeah, the best way that I found for passing was chest binder and sports bras for the days that I couldn't wear a chest binder because I was taking a break, I guess. Because obviously you shouldn't bind daily. I mean, you can, but like it's just not ideal. It's not very healthy, and I mean, you gotta let them breathe sometimes. But I want to make a video later on showcasing my favorite brands and stuff, because it's important to have a good brand and quality. Obviously, follow the binding rules, don't do extensive exercise, don't overwear, and make sure to take breaks when you can, because you don't want to damage your body. You don't want the ability to have top surgery in the future, because if you do overbind and if you do like if you can bruise ribs and stuff. There's been cases of people bruising ribs and like seriously injuring themselves because they overbinded or they slept in the binder, stuff like that. So just be very, very careful when doing that. And I hope to do a few binder reviews in the future, because obviously I've had a lot of experience with binding. It will be for smaller chests though, because I do not have the biggest bazonkas in the world. But like I do have quite a few experiences with different binder companies over the years, so I hope to do a binder review soonish. Depends when I get around to recording. I don't know when this video is going to be uploaded, but again, it depends when I get around to recording it. Anyway, 2, hairstyles. Certain hairstyles look more masculine, so if you have long hair, you can replicate these long hair men like hairstyles from Pinterest. So if you go on Pinterest and search like men with long hair, they often like put it back in a certain way, and you can try and replicate that. And I see that that's a lot more helpful in terms of looking more masculine while still being able to have long hair, because some people do prefer having longer hair. And finally, styling clothes, very important, because men typically style differently to women. So when styling your clothes, make sure to adjust where you rest your pants and stuff. So a lot of men wear their like pants at their hips, so like low-waisted pants, definitely. And this can also help like make your torso appear longer, and it can also just make you look taller in general and a lot more masculine. I know that, I mean, for me personally, it's a lot comfier higher up, like around the waist. And I still do it sometimes because it is comfier, but on days where my dysphoria is really bad, pulling them down to my hips does actually make a big difference for me, and I'm sure it might do for you as well. I'm not a trans woman. I did actually talk to my friends who are trans women, and I talked to people who have experience with transfeminization and stuff like that. So here are their tips and their advice, and I will also be including some TikToks at the end so that you can get some visuals and stuff like that. So for more subtle makeup options, brown mascara and eyeliner. It like makes a lot of the facial features softer, and they suggested it as well because it's a lot less obvious and it's easier to hide from parents, in the sense that if you put it on, it's not as noticeable as black mascara and black eyeliner and stuff like that. And also tinted chapsticks. Tinted chapsticks are really good in terms of like feeling feminine, but also like hiding it from parents and stuff if you're closeted. Another big advice that they had was posture, because the way that you stand can be very telling. Standing up straight can also sometimes like accentuate your curves a bit more, and my friend said when I was talking to her about it, because we had quite an in-depth conversation, but she said that it really changed the way that she saw herself when she started standing up straight and being more conscious of her posture. It changed the way she saw herself, and it changed how other people saw her too, and a lot of more people started to gender her properly because of the way she was standing, I guess. So she said to mention posture, because it's very important to have a good posture, obviously, for your body, but also it can help accentuate your curves, and it can help make you appear like more feminine. Then my final tip is experiment. Clothes, styles, makeup, stuff like that. So if you can't physically experiment with hairstyles and clothes and what you think is like, what you think you would like, you can go on Pinterest. You can make Pinterest boards on an anonymous account, and you can make Pinterest boards and pin boards or whatever they're called, and you can put different styles of clothes, different makeups, different hairstyles, stuff that you're interested in, and it does help to visualize that for yourself for the future, and it helps to feel confident in yourself in terms of like what you want and what you want. Because my friend said when she first came out, she had no idea what she wanted to wear. She had no idea, like, she had to get in a whole new wardrobe, obviously. Because for the past however many years of her life, she was wearing men's clothes and she wasn't comfortable in that anymore. But she wasn't exactly comfortable with the new clothes she was buying because it wasn't her style and she hadn't really thought about it until she started buying them. So even making Pinterest boards and stuff like that is very helpful in terms of like being more feminine and being more comfortable with yourself. I don't aim on giving tips to pass. I aim on making yourself feel comfortable whilst you're transitioning, because let's be honest, you're never going to have a perfect transition. There is no perfect transition for everybody. Everybody's got a different experience. So just, my biggest tips are to just be yourself, express yourself as freely as you can with your circumstances, and just take care of yourself, because it's important. You deserve to be cared for, and you deserve to be appreciated and loved. So if you enjoyed this video, please support the channel by subscribing, leaving a like, all that stuff. If you have any questions or anything, or if you have any advice for other trans people, put it in the comments below. Because I think it's so important, again, for us as a community to support each other and look after each other. So yeah, so I'll see you guys next time.
Remember, like, good posture is like the difference between looking like this and like not having very much shape and looking like this and having a lot of shape. Like, if you can get your shoulders back and then like arc your butt out like that, and it feels better too once you get used to it, but like this posture looks so much better than this.